What's going on? It's your man Skinny Go Live, registered veterinary technologist and social media content creator, and welcome to another episode of Black History Chat with Black veterinary professionals, sponsored by my team over at United Veterinary Care, where we believe in improving the lives of all people and pets. And we have a special guest today. This young lady is all the way from Richmond, Virginia. She's also currently working at Helping Hands Veterinary Clinic, and she's a student in the Purdue Distant Learning program. You guys help me welcome Jasmine Caldwell to the show. Jasmine, how are you doing, sweetheart?
I'm doing great. How are you today, Walter?
I am amazing. It's been a busy day working per usual. How have you been taking care of yourself?
I have been taking care of myself a lot, honestly. Also working today and very busy as also per usual.
That's awesome. Well, I am glad that you are back at the job. You did have last time I saw you, you had a brace on your leg at VMX, right? What was going on there?
That is correct. So I'm pretty much a little chihuahua, and I have NPL. So my kneecaps shift out of place. They luckily don't catch, but I don't have 4 legs to walk on, and so I don't keep falling. I had surgery to prevent that from continuously happening. So I have been at work for a little, but I got to make a quick pit stop at VMX before returning back, taking advantage of some medical leave for a little bit. But yeah, I'm back at work now. And there's no more brace.
So you didn't learn how to walk on your hands like the Chihuahuas do? They learn to work on their... Oh, come on, Jasmine. Come on. You're supposed to impress me here. That is awesome. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. And like we were saying, man, VMX was a pretty cool time. Was that your first time going to VMX? And for those of you that don't know what VMX is, it's a veterinary medicine conference by NAVC that they have annually in Orlando. It's like one of the largest conferences ever. Was that your first time, Jasmine, or kind of...
It was.
It was your first time?
Yes, it was.
Oh, man. How was it? Tell me about your experience.
It was amazing. It was a lot in a lot of good ways. Very overwhelming, still also in a lot of very good ways. So many people to learn from as far as I don't get credit for it because I'm not licensed, but, CE, right. Learning new things that I can take back to the clinic, meeting new people, seeing social media influencers such as yourself. Your parafixers were there. I didn't get to actually meet them. I saw them passing through on the escalator on the opposite direction. So it was like a sailing away goodbye, and I never even got to meet them. But there was so many crazy good things going on there. Freebies, the swag.
Oh, yeah.
I will always ask for swag.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so much swag.
Now notice I have an extra suitcase for swag, just below. I couldn't take half of it back, so it sucks saying no to some of it. But it was really great, informative, really cool things, and just being around a bunch of veterinary professionals was really cool. Seeing the Irwins, Tyler Hubbard was there doing a concert. That was amazing. The proposal that happened, that was there's so many crazy things that just happened in the course of 4 or 5 days. It was amazing though.
It was a lot, right? And you sound just like the first experience in person. They're like, wow, swag galore, so much that you need a second suitcase, and people actually do that. It's crazy. They just bring extra suitcases. They're like, because I'm taking all the swag back. I was like, y'all have at it. I don't want to take anything back, but I'm
true. I took the Yeti. The Yeti was the main thing I did have to go for.
The Yeti line was crazy. I was like, what's this?
It was insane.
And you can always tell who got the good swag because the lines are long, and I'm like, I don't even want to know what's in that line because I'll probably want to get in it. So, but it was awesome.
Purina Hills, best swag.
That's where it was. I knew it. I knew it had to be over there somewhere.
And UBC. I will say UBC, the shirt is the softest shirt I've ever had in my life. I did have to take some swag from, my company that I work for. So
awesome. We appreciate you. Yes, everybody did kind of hit me up afterwards. They was upset. They were upset. They were like, wait, y'all gave out all the t-shirts? I was like, hey, I told you to be there at a certain time. But I was glad you were able to get a t-shirt. So that's awesome, especially one of our students. So that is great. That is great. And one thing that I noticed, and we were talking with a few people about VMX, and being it was your first time there, one thing that we all kind of agreed on is the diversity was definitely up in numbers. Were you shocked at the amount of, just diversity that you saw at the conference? Did you expect that, or what were your thoughts, or you didn't even think about it?
I originally didn't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, being usually the minority of people in the room,
Mm-hmm.
it was amazing seeing Black professionals, whether it was from DVM to like CSRs
Right.
to technicians, like just everywhere. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's there's so much diversity going on here. What's happening? I actually talked to a friend and said the same thing. I was like, "There's so much diversity here. It's insane." It was a very good insane way though.
All right.
That much diversity and people who even have like booths at VMX also just talking about like, "Hey, we want to get more Native American personnel into vet med. We want to get more, Asian personnel into vet med."
Right.
Like just all thoughts away. It was a good experience for the diversity front, at least.
Oh my gosh, I agree, and that was a big thing that I noticed, and I definitely gave VMX their kudos for definitely, because I think that was one of their goals, to make sure they diversify the event as much as possible, and they have done an outstanding job. So definitely kudos to the VMX crew for that.
Yeah.
So getting into the whole like scope of deal, like as a veterinary technician student, looking for the pathway, kind of to move over and get into the licensing part of veterinary medicine, what kind of started it all for you? I know for me, people ask me all the time, for me, of course, I never saw anybody in the vet space that looked like me, but I love animals. I don't think I really even thought about it until I thought about it, right? But for me, it was the passion and the love for animals. And then as I got older, those were the things that I started to think about, like, wait, I have never seen a Black veterinarian or I've never seen anyone that looked like me in that space. Is it possible? So for you, where did it start? Like what got you interested in the vet med, and when did you start to think about, the diversity part of it?
So it's really funny because I used to not even, I will say my number one, when like you're a kid, everyone's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? I actually want to be an astronaut first. That clearly didn't work out.
Wow.
That did not work out. But the second thing I wanted to do was be a vet, and physical limitations all kind of going on there. I was like, I feel like when I was a kid, actually, I was watching, I don't know if you remember, I don't remember the name of the show, but on Animal Planet as a kid, I sat there, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it played all the time. It's about like a docu-series show kind of thing, drama, about following Animal Planet's crew, following an emergency vet. I can't remember the name of the show, but
was it like, called Animal Emergency? I kind of remember this show.
Animal Emergency. Like they showed everything under the sun. I was like,
yeah, cool. I remember this show because they showed stuff that you probably wouldn't see right now. They probably wouldn't show it up. Yeah, totally remember. Yeah, I forgot the name of that show. That you're right. They had the dramatic music behind it and everything.
Yes, it was almost like General Hospital almost,
right.
But in vet med, and it was insane. I was like, this is so cool. And ever since then, I was like, that's what I want to do. I've always loved animals. So I feel like being in the industry was probably definitely in my path somewhere along the way, thanks to that television show.
Right.
Kind of where I'm at and how I landed here, though, that's kind of crazy, is I guess as far as that goes, because I wanted to be a vet. Moving on from that show, and then I guess it didn't work out that way, but it's okay. I'm happy where I'm at, and
right.
That's kind of what planted the seed of me getting into vet med, was that television show, believe it or not.
That's awesome. And did you just venture out to a clinic and was like, hey, let me go try to volunteer at a clinic? What kind of got you into your first clinic deal? Did you just like say, let me just give it a shot and fill out an application, or did you go in, or how was that exposure wise?
So believe it or not, continuing on to I want to be a vet path, I just stuck with that past high school, of course. Kind of learned how much school went into that. I'm like, I don't know if I feel like doing that much school.
I feel you.
School and all, but I don't. 8 years plus. That's a lot of time in my life. At like 17, graduating high school, thinking that. So I actually ended up working along at a bunch of show barns with horses.
Oh, cool.
Picking stalls, picking up poop and straw and hay, and doing everything under the sun. And that's kind of how I was like, okay, cool. I was still in the mindset of, hey, I want to be a veterinarian. But I enjoyed the cows, the horses, all of those things a lot. And I was like, I'm going to do large animal, and I'm in small animal now.
You sound like my wife.
I applied everywhere, kind of under the sun. I lived in my current city, Richmond, for a little bit, and then moved back home for a little bit as well. But once I moved back down here, I applied pretty much everywhere, just to kind of get my foot in the door. I actually applied as a receptionist just because I learned applying everywhere, they want you to have at least like a year or two of experience if you're going to do like the assisting thing. And so I didn't have that experience. I learned that. So I just like, you know what, I'll start being a receptionist and, you know, we'll go from there. But
that is
I
awesome.
got interviewed. Yeah, I got interviewed at Helping Hands. They're like, wait, you want to like actually be in the back? I'm like, yeah, that'd be really cool. But I'm applying to be a receptionist. Like, that's okay. They're like, no, we'll give you a shot. We'll give you a shot. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
And that's what's up.
Almost 7 years later, I'm still here.
That is awesome, Jasmine. Like, and again, like, is the resilience, right? Like, that just, like, I don't know, like, it just makes my heart melt because, again, like, you know, it's one of them deals, like, you went for it. You know what I mean? You like, this is what I want to do. I'm just going to apply. And I think, like, so many people miss that now. Like, they're just like, I can't do it. And I'm like, you just got to try. Like, you never know, you know? And you can't be afraid for people to tell you no, right? It's like, well, you get told no, and you just got to keep going, right? So I applaud you for that. I applaud. So you intrigued me with something. So I got to go back a little bit because I ain't a horse person, right? I ain't a horse person. I do like goats. Like, how did this barn job come about? Like, did you know the barn people, or you were just like, hey, I see a barn over there. Let me go see if I can go help out.
So I always wanted a horse as a kid.
Really?
And yes. And my parents told me no unless I got straight A's. Surprise. I was never a straight A student. So I got A's, B's, and C's. So that did not count for my parents dropping a lot of money for me to have a creature that needs to live in bubble wrap. And so I was like, fine, whatever. I'm 18 now, and I had a friend who managed the show barn, and she was like, hey, we're looking for new help. And I applied, and that's how it all started.
That is, I've never met a lot of people that, I mean, you know, now that I'm exposed a little bit more, but I just never met, many people, especially like African Americans or Black Americans, like I want to go ride a horse. My wife loves it, and I refuse to go out there. I'm just like, nope, that's too big of an animal to act the way it acts right now. I don't want to be a part of that.
I much prefer horses. That is definitely my cup of tea. All of their crazy, and the humans, I guess, that come along with it.
Oh, yes. You know it then. You are a real barn girl, huh? So I get it. Got it. Do you think about owning a horse again someday?
Yes, I do. We unfortunately had to say goodbye to my previous horse that I rode last year. But I feel like also I feel better about it now, working in vet med, kind of understanding, this is what happened. Okay, cool. Like, they live in bubble wrap. They don't last forever as much as we want them to. And so once I finish school, that is hopefully the plan, is to purchase a new horse.
That is awesome.
And kind of figure that part out soon. So,
do you? Again, this is me being exposed. Shout out to the wife for exposing me to horses. Do you do any like certain type of riding, like dressage or like hunter jumper or barrel racing or any of that, or you just kind of enjoy the riding?
I enjoy the riding overall, but I did do dressage, and then I've also done some hunter jumping.
Wow!
I don't know how to put a Western saddle on to save my life. I've done trail riding, all those things. I've done parades with some of my friends and all that, but I don't know how to put a Western saddle on to save my life. It's okay. It is what it is.
Wow.
So I'm an English person through and through. I'd rather be in an English saddle than a Western saddle.
The fact that you know there's a different saddle. I mean, I think I learned that a few days ago. She was like, yes, honey, a Western saddle, like the cowboys, they rode. Yes. I was like, oh, got it. She was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with you? I'm like, just bear with me, honey. Just bear with me. But that is awesome. So as far as, you know, and it's awesome, you know, and it's just amazing, you know, learning different things about people, and this is why it's important that we try to expose different cultures and the culture to different aspects of veterinary medicine, because you never know what to change someone's life, right? You know, I would have never thought, you know, ask you, hey, do you want to come work at the barn or something, right? But again, you expose people, you never know what someone will love to do. One of the biggest things right now is the pig showing. That's crazy. Like, the kids are really getting into...
I've seen kids on TikTok and everything, just like
Yeah.
staring at the judge like the angriest face. I'm like, how do you make that face?
Oh my.
What are we doing with this pig? This pig has a better skin routine than I do, and I don't understand.
And again, I love it because again, it exposes these kids, and it's like amazing. They love their pigs, and they do the same thing with their goats for 4-H and their cattle. So I applaud any of the kids, especially the African American kids, Black kids that try to get exposure and get into this. Because again, we are far few in between when it comes to these different events or whatnot. So when it comes down to the Purdue Distant Learning Program, you say you've been working with Helping Hands for a few years. What encouraged you or what inspired you to say, you know what, let me go ahead and go the next step and apply to pursue my license in veterinary technology?
So essentially, the really cool thing about Helping Hands, which is probably why it's stuck around for about 7 years.
They are amazing.
They are amazing, number one. Shout out to everybody who I work with at both the Richmond location and the Florida location.
Yes.
So we offer surgery and dentistry, those really high price things where you go to your vet at a low cost. So the mission is pretty much to prevent economic euthanasia. So if an owner can't afford things, a lot of times they just resort to like, well, I'm going to have to put Fifi down. Like, I can't afford to pay for X, Y, and Z thing that might save their life. And in Virginia, you can only be a licensed personnel to do a lot of things. So I, of course, want to be able to help more animals at my job. And so because of that, that's pretty much why I wanted to be able to be licensed. And also, I feel while being on the job trained is awesome, I feel being licensed will be able to help me, discuss those difficult conversations even better and, educate those clients even better. And then also be able to offer better care for patients. Like, I can do more as a licensed personnel,
right?
Versus as a on the job trained personnel. And so that's kind of where I'm at with it. And, hopefully in the future, I know I complained about school when I was younger, but I'm like, well, maybe I'll go on and specialize in anesthesia or dentistry or something like that.
Yes.
School. So
it's one of those deals where it opens the door, right? And I can just tell, chatting with you, Jasmine, you are definitely one of those folks that we need more of in veterinary medicine, right? Because again, it's about being personal, and you're personal almost like myself. And I think that was my biggest thing. People ask me all the time, well, why did you go get your VTS in emergency and critical care? And it wasn't for any more money. It was one of those deals where I knew it was something that I needed to do to prove to myself. I was always told, what, Walter, you're an awesome veterinary technician working at ECC. And I asked a lot of questions. I read a lot of books. I did a lot of those things. People will tell you at UGA all the time, they're like, this is not the time he didn't have a book in his hand reading something. People would tell me sometimes, you ain't tired of reading information? And I'm like, no, I want to absorb all the information. Because when you're around brilliant people, you absorb things from brilliant people. And, I got to the point where I was like, you know what, I think I got a hand on this. So doing my VTS, which was another challenging aspect of it, I was able to prove to myself that I knew the information. So I definitely want to challenge you that as well, Jasmine. I know you were like, I'm already dealing with one challenge, Walter. I got to get through Purdue. And again, shout out to Purdue Distant Learning. They are an awesome program. Definitely one of the great distant learning programs. But I definitely challenge you to definitely take that next step, your VTS. If you like dentistry, surgery, or whatever it may be, I'm sure the folks at Helping Hand will be more than willing to kind of help you jump that hurdle. And also the support staff of United Veterinary Care. Rachel does a great job with the mentorship program. So that is awesome, Jasmine. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. What kind of dogs? You got dog? What pets do you have, Jasmine? That's the one question I always have to ask.
I have 2 dogs. I have a tripod who is named Cassidy. She's a lab pity mix. And then I have a Akita Shepherd mix who looks like Scrappy. He looks like Scrappy Doo when he was a puppy, but his name is also Scrappy. So he didn't take the Star Wars names we tried to give him, unfortunately. So we landed for Scrappy Doo.
That is awesome. And how did you end up with the tripod? Was it one of those deals where you were like, I'll take you home?
It wasn't even. I started working at Helping Hands, and I think my boyfriend at the time, we just kind of were like, we don't have a dog. We both grew up with dogs, and so it was like, we don't have a dog. So we went to our local SPCA, and we were looking around. We found one pity thing that looked like a fat seal, and her name was Lucinda or something, but they jokingly called her Lucille. she was so perfect, so amazing. And then we brought her back inside after like a little meet and greet, and she jumped onto the reception desk and like cruised all across, like all papers everywhere. And I was like, that's not happening. We're not doing this.
Oh man.
And then we were walking around like, all right, well, we'll keep looking. And then suddenly we're like, oh, this dog is cute. And it was Cassidy, just in her little room hotel thing.
Oh.
And we asked to see her, and she actually barked at my husband, and was not very pleased about him entering the room. But we took her out to go play fetch and stuff, and she was insane. Like, tripods are crazy.
They are.
The girls actually at the clinic used my dog as an example for how great a life of a tripod can have, because how crazy she is.
That is amazing.
But she caught a ball and she threw herself into the air to get it, but she didn't process the landing part and just like plugged herself into like this privacy fence, and it was insane. So we ended up with her. She's pretty amazing. I will not take her back. But it was just an incidental. We ended up with a tripod. I didn't go looking for one. People stop me all the time asking, where'd you get that dog? I've been looking for a 3-legged dog for forever. I'm like, I don't, we just got a dog. And then we ended up with Scrappy because we were like, oh, we need another dog. Like, she's bored, she's sad. And so we got him. She picked him out at the local animal control, and we've had 2 dogs ever since.
That is awesome. Well, so clearly you was like, let me adopt and not shop. And I guess that's the new thing in the world. So we appreciate it.
I don't shame it. I don't shame either party.
Me either.
As long as we're happy and responsible.
That's what I say too, Jasmine. I'm like, I don't care where you get your dog from. Just be responsible for it. That's all. Yes. I don't care. Just be responsible.
I am all for both sides. It does not bother me.
I am with you. I am with you. Well, Jasmine, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with us tonight. And I appreciate your enthusiasm for being a student in the Purdue Distance Learning Program and for all you do for the Helping Hands United Veterinary Care team. We definitely appreciate you. And for all of you that are listening to this episode, definitely tune in for the rest of the week for some more amazing folks who will be joining us. But again, Jasmine, want to thank you for joining us tonight. And if you need anything, Jasmine, you know where to find me. And hey, I'm always here for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Walter. It was amazing. And thank you for taking your time out of your evening to also speak with me in regards to this.
No problem. I appreciate it. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next time on Black History Chat with Black Veterinary Professionals.